Today's lesson is an introduction to double stops. Now, double stops are when we play two notes at the same time, and they can be a great tool for creating rhythm guitar fills and adding new color to your soloing. Today's lesson, we're going to take a look at three of the most common types of double stops: thirds, fourths, and sixths. Now, these numbers refer to the interval relationship between the two notes. For instance, with thirds, we would play a note from the major scale. In this case, I'm going to play C, and then play a note a third above, so the note E, and then continue that up the scale. Now, to make things simple for today's lesson, we're just going to be working with the C major scale. And all of these examples are going to be right out of the key of C major. So there are two ways I like to map out double stops on the fretboard. One is in position, moving across all 6 strings, and the other is horizontally on groups of 2 strings. So for this first example, we're going to play the C major scale on the B string, and then we're going to add a third above on the high E string. So for C, we're going to add the third above, which is E, and then we're going to continue harmonizing each note a third above. And the note we're harmonizing is also from the C major scale. So all of this is diatonic to C major. Here's a close-up of the first example. Okay, so now that we've got that, we can start making music with this. So I'm going to play to a backing track, and I'm going to do a musical example of how I would use these double stop shapes. Okay, so the next way I like to harmonize a C major scale with thirds is actually in position. And for this, we're going to use this position for C major. And so we can take all of those notes and harmonize it a third above, the same way we did moving horizontally, but this time moving across all 6 strings in position. So. Continue that up, and of course move it through all 5 of our scale positions for C major. So here is a close-up of that scale harmonized in thirds. Okay, and so once again, now that we have that under our fingers, we can start making music with that. So I'll play the backing track again and demonstrate a musical example of how I would use that sort of stuff. Okay, so for this next group of double stops, we're going to look at fourths. Now, fourths are when we play a note from the scale and harmonize it a fourth above. So for C here, a fourth above would be the note F. And we get this sound, and this is really great for playing those classic kind of R&B fills. So here it is horizontally up the fretboard, up close. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's do a musical example along to the backing track using fourths just on those top 2 strings. Okay, and so once again, we can harmonize the same scale in position, and just to keep things simple, we're going to stick with the same scale position for C major. And here it is close up, harmonized in fourths. Okay, so just like we did before, let's play a musical example using these different double stops. Check it out. Okay, so for this last group of double stops, we're going to be working with sixths. Now, this is a super classic sound that you've heard in tons of songs. Lots of old classic R&B and soul tunes use this all the time. And for this, we're actually going to have to skip a string. So we're going to do these on the G string and the high E string. And so there I'm playing C on the G string, and then going up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to the 6th degree of the major scale, and playing that interval, and then moving that up through the scale. So here it is played close up. Okay, so now we can make music using these double stop shapes. So I'll play the backing track again and play a musical example using just this information. So just like we did before, we can do this in position now using this C major scale shape and harmonizing it in sixths. Here's the scale played close up. All right, so finally, let's do a musical example using these shapes, and you can see how you can take this simple information and start making music with it. All right, so hopefully this sheds some light on what double stops are, a few super common types of double stops, what they sound like, and how to get started using them. Now, obviously, we're just kind of dipping our toe in the water here because we've got lots more string sets we can work through moving horizontally up the fretboard, and lots more scale patterns we can work through harmonizing. So I really encourage you to expand this concept around the fretboard, but this is a great way to just get started, sort of understanding what double stops are and how to get started using them. And as I demonstrated, you don't have to wait around to start making music with this stuff. You can learn one thing and immediately start trying to incorporate it into your playing and making music with it. So as always, thank you for watching, thank you for your support, and I will catch you next time. Happy practicing.